Healing. Everybody talking about healing from something in some way or some form. So the question is and thing, is are we are we really healing? And I'm gonna put we in there because I question myself about stuff too. So I'm gonna say we. I'm not gonna say are they. Now I'm gonna talk about relationship and how to heal. I'm gonna tell you straight up. I'm not gonna tell you how to heal because each person is different. The circumstances are different. The people they deal with are different. So what one person's way of healing is, another person way of healing is going to be different because of the different situations and the circumstances of the when the situation transpired. I'm going to talk about relationships because that's one of the main things that happened to me in my lifetime. I got divorced. Now, the divorce happened like, I'm not going to say it's not my fault. That's not it. And you're going to see why I'm not going to say it's not my fault as we go on here. However, certain things happened that wasn't on me. And boom, there it is. You know what I mean? But like I said, I'm not going to say it's their fault. I am just going to go with that for now. But anyway, and here's the honest truth, man. People talk about healing. You never really heal from it. It's how you deal with it. That's the thing. It's not so much healing. You never heal from a breakup that had extenuating circumstances for the breakup. You never really heal. There's still going to be that little bit of mistrust in the back of your head. There's still going to be that self doubt about any and everything when it comes to relationships. It is always going to be there. It's not going to go away. It's how you journey on. That's the important part. You know what I mean? So okay. When we first broke up, I spent the first couple of weeks when I moved out and I was on my own. I spent the first couple of weeks going, I can't believe this happened. Can't believe they did this to me. And I can't believe that. And I wasn't feeling any better. I was just going down and down and down. And I was like, man, this does not feel good. There's got to be a better way. Number one, I knew the better way wasn't going, find somebody else. I knew that wasn't going to be it because I know at that point I was going to bring everything from that into the new relationship. So, people always have a rebound person. I kind of sort of did try that, but it was half-hearted. So, it wasn't really, I wasn't going, oh yeah, I got to replace. I didn't even try that, you know what I mean? I just, to be honest, I thought, yeah, I'm single, I'm out here now, let me see if I still got it or something like that, you know what I mean? And that didn't work out, I got the nice guy label, and of course, vibes start vibing in the wrong direction. So I was like, oh, stop, slow down there, big boy. Start paying attention to what's going on around you. Otherwise, you're just going to end up having issues as you go along. But so after a while and thing, I was like, man, this ain't working out. So here's what I did. And people are going to say, well, you can't blame yourself, especially when you take into consideration what happened. But that's not what I was doing. I decided that I'm going to look at myself in the situation. I'm going to look at what I did during the marriage to create this situation. Not blaming myself, but nobody's perfect. And if you search to see what were the little or the big qualms that you had within the relationship, then you could start working on yourself. Most people don't even do that. They just, blame the other person, I can't believe this. And they harp on that, but they're not actually looking at themselves on the inside. And I'm talking from experience of watching other people deal with situations in a relationship that break up. They rarely ever, they always talk about, oh, I can't believe this person did that or that person did that. And listen. If you're in an abusive relationship, I'm not saying it's your fault for being in the abusive relationship. What I'm saying is, if you're in an abusive relationship, take a look at yourself. See how you ended up in that situation. And a lot of people say, well, they changed, and they were this and they were that. No, they didn't change. They were always like that. We as humans don't tend to pay attention to the, and I hate to say red flags, but I say the personality quirks in a person. We have this, society have us thinking about this type of relationship that you should be in, that's what you're looking for in the other person. You don't see the quirks and go, okay, can I live with that or can I not live with that? You're just thinking, oh yeah, this is the next step, and you're just going for it, because this person is visually pleasing, or they cool, or they bad boys, or they this, or they that, or the other. Or even that's a nice guy when then somebody's just playing as a nice guy. You understand what I mean? Which is odd because in a situation like that, they trust the bad boys more because they think the bad boys are more authentic than the nice guys. But if you pay attention to somebody that's the bad boys come off as nice guys too. Because they know that's how they're going to get you. I'm a bad boy, but I'm really nice, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's neither here nor there than the situation I'm talking about. So check the Bible. So I start trying to figure out, okay, what did I do? What was my part in this to create a situation like that? And I start looking at myself as the situations I didn't handle properly. Okay, I'm not going to do that again. Or I'm going to try not to do that in my next relationship. What did I do here? Maybe that wasn't the best thing to do. Maybe I should check it out for the next relationship. I was kind of selfish. Okay. I don't have to be completely selfless, but I could be a little bit more understanding. No, don't get me wrong. I did some crucial compromising. Where we live where she wanted to. Where we spend Christmas with. But I was a little bit selfish, and to the point where I would just go into these spells where I didn't say anything for days. You know what I mean? I guess I was homesick, so that was kind of selfish. But so then I started looking at, excuse me, at all these things about myself, so that I could fix it so it wouldn't affect the next relationship I'm in. And here's something I've noticed too. If you get into that funk where you keep blaming other person and not trying to look at yourself and see what the situation is, you get stuck in that, then you're going to get stuck either choosing the wrong type of people, or you're going to get stuck being alone forever because you keep, not trusting anybody. Yeah, do I trust people now? Yeah. I trust them until they break that trust. I don't go into any kind of situation looking for the red flags. I go into the situation thinking that's a human being. They come in with baggage. Everybody comes with baggage. It's how you deal with the baggage that they come with. Whether you think that's something you could live with. Well, I haven't found anybody that could live with the baggage yet. I actually have, but right time, wrong place, or wrong place, right time. Something always come up. Because when you look for the red flags, you're going to find things that you think are red flags that are not really red flags. But when you look for the human, there we go. And all the time I'm speaking on all this stuff I'm ranting about here, you will always hear me come back to the human. You look for the human. If the person is compassionate, caring, and all of that good stuff, but still have a rough edge, that's all right. But if they're showing you the caring part of them and that's the dominant part of them, the little quirks you could probably look after, as long as it's not affecting you mentally, it's not affecting you psychologically, it's not affecting you in any form or fashion. But, and this is going to be a really short one, the main thing I did was look at myself. Didn't blame myself. I didn't blame her neither. I could spend a whole lot of time sitting there blaming her. Oh, she did this, she did that, she did the other. Meanwhile, she's moving on with her life. and you're going to be sitting there, or he's moving on with his life, and you're going to be sitting there going, oh my God, I wish I had done this. I wish I had done that. Oh my God, I can't believe this happened. That person is just evil, blah, 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 blah. No. They're moving on. And I'm not saying it's easy for them. We're human. It's going to be hard for anybody, regardless of the situation. But the point is, they're going to be moving on. Sooner or later, you're going to become an afterthought. And the thing about I've noticed too is that once you move on, they come back after a while and they want to be part of your life. They want to be friends with you. They want to be cool with you. You know what I'm saying? So to heal, or some semblance of healing, you got to look at yourself. Because if you don't look at yourself, you're going to make the same mistakes that you make with the person before. Not only that, you're going to bring your mistakes and the mistakes of the person into any new situation that you're going to get into. Certain things that I had to learn certain boundaries. I had to learn that, you know what I mean? And when I say certain boundaries, not like, oh, hey, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. Oh, yep, you could do that, but I'm going to tell you, if it affects me and you still do it, then we don't have an issue. And it should go both ways. If I do something that affects you, or about to do something that affects you negatively, and I do it anyway, then you should have an issue with that too. That's the way I see it. But we have so many people running around talking about healing, 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 and then you see the Facebook post and it's like, you're not healing, you're festering. There's a lot of people on social media festering right now, you know, and they're talking about they're walking through it. No, they're not. If you're not becoming a better version of yourself, you're not walking through anything. If you're still harping on the stuff from the past there, you know, and that other person is moved on, then you're not working on anything. And like I said, there's no magic thing that's going to make you heal from anything. There's no complete healing that's going to happen. It's always going to be there. It's, you know, just think about it some way. Something have passed away, a relationship, somebody you was close with. That person is going to always be in your mind. They're always going to be in your head. You're not going to be thinking about them constantly, but they're always going to be there. Something you do is going to remind you of them. Something you say is going to remind you of them. I mean, I was married for 15 years. It's a long time. That's almost quarter century. So yes, you know, I might smell something. Like sometimes somebody walk by, oh my God, that person's like, you know, because she always wear the Egyptian musk. It's going to come back. But it's how you deal with it, you know. You go, oh, yeah, that person smell like my ex-wife. Okay, yeah. Move on, you know what I mean? Time doesn't heal, but time lessens the blow. People always say time heals. It doesn't. It just lessens the blow. And I'm saying it from my perspective. If you think time heals and you think it's going to heal you, that's fine. If that's the way you want to deal with it, like I said, everybody deals with things differently. But the point is, it doesn't heal for me. It's how I deal with it. Is it going to affect my everyday life? No. Is it going to affect my next relationship? No. Everybody's different. And you also have to take into consideration that people are going to react to things from a cultural perspective. Somebody from a certain area where you grew up, they're going to react to it just like everybody else because it's a cultural reaction. Most of it is a cultural reaction, amplified. Okay, let me rephrase that. It's an emotional reaction amplified by cultural norms. That's what it is. People are going to deal with it the way the culture say to deal with it, not the way your emotions say to deal with it. I don't think people differentiate that. And I guess as a sociologist and me, that think like that. But hey, you know what I mean? Because you ever notice when you break up, everybody's got the same advice. If you have kids, well, your kids come first, you know, and you have your kids. But hey, I'm sorry. The fact is, the kids ain't enough. That's a whole different type of love there. You can't replace romantic love with love for your children. You know, you can't replace, your children depend on you. You know what I mean? In a relationship, you depend on each other. With children, it's pretty much a one-way street. So it's not the same thing. So when people tell you, oh, you got your children, no, it's not the same thing. I had a friend that had a situation like that, and a situation with a guy she was trying to see who broke up. Well, you have your daughter. That's a different thing. It's not going to stop the want of having somebody there, that you're in a romantic relationship with somebody, that you're not going to go tell your child that's 5 years old your problems. Certain things that make you happy, or something happen in your life that's you're going to be elated about. Your child is there and they're going to be excited, but it's not the same type of excitement. So when they give you that kind of advice there, that's a whole different thing right there. You understand what I'm saying? So that's not the best advice to give somebody. Or they're like, oh, when one dump you, you just find another one. Bad advice again. And the truth of the matter is, most people that know who got divorced and got remarried, they say, don't do it. Don't ever do it again. Well, sometimes it takes people wait 5 years to get into another relationship, and they still ain't ready. They still aren't ready because they haven't resolved issues from before. They still aren't ready. Take your time. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I've been single now for decades. I still go on, and that's not strength. That's what you call living while you're living. And I know this is a simple video here, simple little rant and thing, but I hope it helps somebody. You know what I mean? I'm not giving you advice, because your situation is different, like I said. But I'm just saying, what I did is I started looking inward, not to the point where I got selfish, but to the point where I'm figuring out myself. And there's so much going on around you, working, people in your head, that hampers you actually looking at yourself. Especially when we live in a society where a lot of people tell themselves that they look at themselves, but a lot of people don't look at themselves from their own eyes. They look at themselves from the eyes of what other people think of them. You got to block out all the noise, because if you don't, you'll never get to the point where you feel functional. That's how I did it. You know what I mean? My life ain't perfect by no stretch of the imagination. I'm not going to say, oh, things are great. Oh, yeah. No. Is life ever really perfect? You have perfect moments, but life as a whole ain't perfect. So that's my little spin, my little rant on that there. You understand what I mean? Just look into yourself, but not to the point where you become selfish.